Hello everyone, my name is Trypus. Today I'm going to talk with you about my vision for emergent technologies and learning. I love the public library. I believe in its mission and its purpose, and I believe the survival of libraries is essential to a continued striving for excellence in our educational system. I am always drawn to the issues surrounding the future of libraries whenever I am asked to address emerging technologies in education. It's impossible to predict the future of libraries, but here in my slideshow, I'm going to try to tell you what my vision for the future of libraries is. Do people still use the library? If I had a nickel for every time I heard that question, yes, people do still use the library. In 2015, a Pew Research study showed that close to 80% of all Americans aged 16 and older had visited a public library at some point in their life. 43% had visited a public library in the past 12 months. That's down from the year before. However, over 40% of Americans 16 and older have visited a public library website in their lifetime, and 38% have visited a public library website in the past 12 months. That figure is actually up from 2014. One of the most important roles that the library has undertaken in recent years has been to identify emerging technology trends and incorporate them into the programs and services that the library offers. Libraries have always been seen as institutions whose purpose it is to support the educational system and to support the community it serves. By identifying current trends in technology and purchasing, teaching, showing, and demonstrating how these work to students and communities, the library has shaken off its image as a dusty relic of the past and has become a serious player in the future of education and technology. When you think of libraries, I no longer want you to think of the shelves and shelves of books and the big long tables. We still have those and they're not going away anytime soon, but we also have what you see here on the right, a Super Wholock celebration, a combination of Supernatural fans, Doctor Who fans, and Sherlock fans. This was a program held at the John F. Germany Library downtown last month that had over 300 people in attendance. These are some of the new and different and interesting programs that the libraries are offering. Informal learning is clearly at the forefront of what the future of libraries holds and is already a large part of what libraries do. Informal learning is about the process, the experience, and the prior knowledge people bring with them into the library. Informal learning depends on a willing, active individual, and more often than not, a person coming to the library for a program is doing it because they have an interest in the subject and are motivated by nothing more than the desire to learn something new or to share their experiences with others. In this video here, a group called Giving Tree Music has come into the library where over 100 people showed to play together in a drum circle. This is a great way to bring communities together and teach children about the beauty of music and get them into the library. Programs offered at the library are a great way to promote informal learning. Libraries allow a safe space for people to connect and come together. As a free place, libraries also offer technology and space to people who may have a lower income and not have access to technology or internet at home. Libraries can become a place where someone can go to embrace learning and to really explore their interests.
Now listen up, 2 guys. Say how do you do, how do you do? How do you do?
The emerging technology that most fits my idea of what the future of libraries holds is augmented reality. Augmented reality is a live, direct, or indirect view of the real physical world we live in. The elements of that world, though, are augmented or supplemented with technology. Augmented reality is different from virtual reality because in virtual reality, the real world is completely replaced with a virtual or computer-assisted world. Augmented reality just assists in making the real world around you that much more awesome. 2 theoretical foundations for augmented reality are situated learning, which is interactive and knowing with doing, as well as constructivist learning theory. Augmented reality allows students to practice their learning in real-world settings and context. If you don't recognize the pictures that you're seeing now, then you probably need to turn off Netflix and do anything else. These are pictures of a Pokestop. A Pokestop is a place you go in the new game Pokemon Go. This is one of the most exciting games and probably the first real use of augmented reality that has taken the world by storm. If you haven't played Pokemon Go yet, I highly suggest downloading it. Pokemon was a very popular Nintendo franchise launched in the 1990s, in which trainers travel the world to catch monsters called Pokemon. Pokemon Go is a free downloadable app that uses a phone's GPS and clock to decide which Pokemon appear in the game. Pokemon Go has gyms and Pokestops based on real-world locations. This is including the library. This is actually a Pokestop at my library, the Thenonasassa Branch Library. Unfortunately, I spend much of my time now collecting Pokeballs and other things as I play the game at work because about every 5 or 6 minutes it refreshes and allows me to do that. This is really new and interesting development happening in the library. If you don't have this app yet, I highly recommend it. Libraries are on the cutting edge of technology, and according to my future vision, augmented reality is a perfect match for libraries. Since Pokemon Go was released, it has created a perfect storm of a new technology and an old familiar, the library. Every library in my library system is either a Pokestop or a gym. As part of my vision for the library as a social meeting place, I have been involved in creating several ideas and programs around Pokemon Go. One of the first and easiest things to do is to create an active lure at your library. This will definitely get people in the door. Once there, you can invite people to current programs on the calendar, ask for input on library programs, or just have an impromptu meetup of Pokemon fans. There are numerous books that can be used in a book display, not just about the Pokemon game, but also about augmented reality, gaming, and geospatial technology. The important thing here is the use of augmented reality as a way to bring people together in a social environment. After finishing my degree, I would like to work as an educational technologist and be able to incorporate my new skills and degree as part of the county library system. As an educational technologist, I would have the skills needed to choose appropriate databases that meets the needs of the public and the skills to work with vendors on developing interfaces or suggesting ways to make the databases more user-friendly. Using a discovery service is another great way to make it user-friendly for people at the library. Discovery services are like one-stop shops for libraries. The patron just enters their term in the catalog, and instead of books or DVDs, they get articles, videos on demand, and other relevant information. I would also like to create webinars or trainings for staff that keep them aware of emerging technologies without requiring them to take a full course. I know I don't want to read an email about something new another library is doing or receive a link to yet another article. I just delete it, and I know others do too. As the library's educational technologist, I would develop a blog or wiki or create mini lectures to send out when needed to relevant personnel so they do not have to do the work for themselves. The role of an educational technologist to me is to help others and to make their lives easier and simpler. Let me take care of the hard part and let the librarian, the teacher, or whomever be able to do the work that they were trained to do. Here are a few of the many references that I used when I wrote my paper about my vision of emerging technologies in the library. These are ones that I referenced somewhere in the slideshow presentation. There's a lot of information online about emerging technologies in libraries, so if you're more interested in the subject, just do a Google search. The American Library Association, ALA.org, has a ton of information about the future of libraries and technology, and you can find all of that. You can also do a search within the Hillsborough County Library System and see all the great pop-up programs that we're doing for Pokemon Go. This is the future of libraries, and this is a future that I hope to be a part of. Thank you.